episode 29. This week we cover Who Mourns for Adonis. Second episode of the second season. This one, the Enterprise is en route to their next mission. Mr. Scott, he's infatuated with this crew member, Carolyn. She was the ancient civilization expert apparently aboard ship. Why they needed that, I'm not sure. It was never explained, but she was there. Mr. Scott infatuated with her, and Captain Kirk and Dr. McCoy talking about this poor girl like they were stuck in the 1950s. Dr. McCoy saying he was worried for Scotty because he said eventually she meets someone better than Scott and get married, and that would mean she was out of the service. Because apparently he thought if a woman got married, she had to give up everything, stay at home. That was the implication. Poor Dr. McCoy stuck in the 1950s, and it was like 23 something. But they're headed to the next mission when this giant green hand shoots out of nowhere from the sky. Captain Kirk thinks it's a real hand. It is not. Mr. Spock emphatically told him that multiple times. Then all of a sudden, this head pops up and tells him that he's waiting for them on the planet. He wants them to come down except for Mr. Spock, because he said he could tell he was no fun. How he could tell that, never mentioned, but he could tell it. So, once they get down to the planet, it was Kirk, Chekhov, Scotty, and of course Carolyn. Why wouldn't they take her? They find out that this guy that had the green hand in the sky holding the ship hostage was actually Adonis, the Greek god. Well, Mr. Chekhov busts out as Russian, and he's like, well, I'm the Tsar of all of Russia. Kirk wasn't amused. Adonis takes an instant liking to Carolyn, as does Scott. Scott takes umbrage with that and keeps getting hit with lightning bolts. Scott's like, I'll beat you up, and Adonis is just like lightning bolt, and Scott goes flying backwards, and McCoy's beside himself. He's like, that was stupid, Scotty. And it was. Kirk, same thing. Adonis does the force choke on him like Darth Vader 10 years before Darth Vader was ever created. He sure enough did. So Star Trek, apparently the first instance of the force choke. But Carolyn takes interest in Adonis, falls for him, much to the chagrin of Mr. Scott and Captain Kirk, who thought that Carolyn would be the answer to get out of the jam. He's like, I know, let's do random dance moves and then rush this guy and get hit by lightning bolts. So the crew is like, that's a good idea. And they do it. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work by a long shot. But they figured out his little temple is the source of his power. The Enterprise finally blasts through it with their phasers. They destroy the thing. And everything's just fine. Completely fine. Adonis apparently goes with all the other Greek gods, Zeus and Aphrodite and the whole gang. They think that Adonis might have been the actual Adonis. They think maybe these aliens, whoever they were, went to Earth thousands of years earlier and posed as the Greek gods. But they didn't know for sure. Never totally explained. Well, that's what happened. Some interesting notes. They screwed up once really big in the episode. Mr. Spock called Adonis by name, but from everything happening on the ship, he had no clue who Adonis was. Wouldn't have known he was Adonis. Had no way of knowing that, but he called him by his name, Adonis. They missed that. The only time we saw this particular love interest for Scotty in the whole series. He must have requested she get transferred off the ship because she was nothing but trouble for poor Scotty. It's also the first time Chekhov got quite a bit of screen time. He in it just a little bit the first episode of the season, but increased the role quite a bit this time. All the regulars were on, Uhura, Sulu, all the rest of them. And pretty much that's episode 29.